Very quickly, the idea, I'm going to present myself a little bit more. I'm working on the issue of deepfakes since 2017. I've been talking about that phenomenon when actually nobody was talking about it, and I felt a little bit alone. But when generative AI started to actually develop and increase its presence in the digital realm, it was suddenly a very crowded sphere. So now it's very nice. We have quite a lot of friends here and there to talk about that topic. I'm a former photojournalist. I was working in south of France for quite a long time, 6 years, and then after that I moved in New York for about 6 years, and then went back to France, where basically I focused on editorial innovation, and now I'm consulting with different type of media. I'm teaching at Sciences Po, and as you said, I have that newsletter Synth that is actually talking about the impact of AI in our lives, and especially in also in the informational sector. So today, I just want to talk a little bit about what we are going to address. The idea here is not to talk about AI in a broad sense of the term. The idea is just to actually focus on generative AI, of course, because as you already know, AI is already around us for quite a long time. We have been using Waze, Google Map, this kind of recommendation algorithm that we find on Netflix or YouTube. So it's not something really new. It's not new also in the media industry, because since at least a decade now, we have seen quite a lot of use of AI, true AI, what we call the expert system in AI, and that were developed around 2015, 2014, something like that. So ESPN used that, Le Monde in France used that to actually generate some content for elections of or sports results, and it was working pretty well up until the point where actually generative AI just actually appeared. So I just want to highlight a new report that actually came out very recently. I think it was like at the beginning of March, or maybe I mean, it was really recent. Generative AI in journalism. The report actually highlights the potential impact of generative AI on the future of journalism. And basically, what it does is propose a set of recommendation for ethical and production processes. So that's a very interesting report, and there is a couple of numbers that I want to share with you in that report that I found very interesting. Basically, when the writers of the report asked the respondent to actually state what is their knowledge of AI, around 80% of the respondents claim to be informed about generative AI. So basically, the basic knowledge seems to be there. People seem to understand that actually there is generative AI, what it is. They seem to actually understand the situation. 73% said that they already use generative AI to some extent. So that could actually, cover a wide range of practical use. It could be, using ChatGPT informally when you are in the newsroom and you try to actually do something like summarize a text or whatever, and since the new tool is here, there is no restriction from in your browser. You can already test some of the functionality, and that can be also a more experts type of use, like we see already developing in the newsrooms. The current dominant use of generative AI is actually in the production of textual content. So it's around 70% of the people of the respondent who claim to actually use that in the textual content. So it's quite it's a very high number. I mean, when I thought that I was a little bit surprised by that number. 70% of the people who are actually using that to create content raise quite a lot of questions in terms of ethical way to to create journalism. The main ethical concerns include the lack of human supervision. So that's probably the main question. It's around 20% of the people ask. And of course, the problem of inaccuracy of information and biases. And basically, these people who responded to the report suggest that actually the use of AI to create a whole piece of content by generative AI should be actually prohibited in the news. So that's the idea of that report. I found that actually it's quite interesting to have this kind of figure, because when you are discussing with members of newsroom, you have the large diversity of practices, and it's always interesting to put that into perspective. So Gen AI in news, you probably heard about that deal between Le Monde and OpenAI in France, but they made different deal like that in the US with, I mean, yeah, not especially in the US, but with Axel Springer. They did exactly the same thing. Basically, the idea here is to actually try to create a partnership with OpenAI to appear in the search result when you are actually using ChatGPT. So when a user actually start making research, ChatGPT usually serves some sources of information, and by making that deal, Le Monde actually ensured that actually is going to be used by ChatGPT to actually provide the information, the solid background, the contextual background for the research. So that's probably one of the biggest news in the news industry here in France. What do you think about that deal, by the way? Because that's here I'm also asking you what is your state of mind when it comes to that deal? Do you think it's a good thing? Would you see your own media actually close that kind of deal with OpenAI? Do you think it's a good thing for the ecosystem, or not? It could be a death case. Damien is saying it's a death case. Well, it's probably a death case. I don't know. Do you want to elaborate on that, Damien, or?
Sorry, can I just, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, no, it's just about Le Monde will be paid for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's interesting to integrate it in a business model. Sorry, I interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Why not?
That's the idea. I mean, their idea, Louis Dreyfus was not the director, the main owner of the newspaper, basically said that actually the main motivation behind that was a business motivation. It's also a strategic one, because of course when you appear in the search results, it's going to be easier to actually for brand recognition. It's way better than if you are not. And since the tool is used more and more by non-professional user. It's also a good deal in terms of brand recognition. It didn't disclose the amount of money that it was, that the deal was about, but a fair estimation would be like at least 6 figures. The thing is, they were the first to enter the game and to negotiate something. So for Le Monde, it's obviously something that is very interesting. And so basically they have incomes from that deal. They also have, and in exchange, OpenAI can actually use the archive and use the data, all the articles that the Le Monde is providing to actually ensure the sourcing of the news, and they're also providing some kind of access to ChatGPT and to the tools for the newsroom. So that's a deal that's going in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when their content will be used, it will be written. It's from the Monde, or I don't know.
Yeah, basically, I mean, when you are using ChatGPT, you have at the end of when you are making a research, the idea is that actually you have like in between brackets you have 3 dots. When you click on that, you have the reference. So you have the direct clickable link to the article. So that's one thing that is very interesting for Le Monde. But here, the problem here is probably this one. You are actually creating a void, some kind of Damien is talking a lot, so I have to open the box. Tac. And Le Monde will be a reference for OpenAI in result. Yes, that's exactly. It's a kind of SEO. Yes, and it was exactly the same strategy that actually Axel Springer had in mind when they actually closed the deal with OpenAI. The idea is to actually position yourself into in some sort of reference and exist. But the problem here is that actually, you have like big players like that who are actually able to create to make that kind of deal, and then the small players are kind of forced to go with the flow. So they have to make a deal with OpenAI, because otherwise, you will end up with a situation where you have a platform like ChatGPT where you could potentially have actually one source of information, Le Monde. So I don't think that actually Le Figaro, La Croix, Libération will accept that kind of stuff, that kind of situation, where basically you have one media sourcing all the news in ChatGPT for the French public. So they will actually try to create, to enter into a negotiation with OpenAI, but OpenAI actually don't care about they don't really care about the news industry. And I mean, I fear that actually the money that actually got Le Monde won't be here for Libération, La Croix, or this kind of stuff. And I think, Cedric is mentioning that actually it's not a deal. It's a deal. It's not a business model. I can't agree more. I mean, that was exactly the same kind of thing that when actually Facebook, asked newsroom to create videos, and then after a while they just suspended their agreement and their contract because they were not interested anymore. So at some point, it's not a stable income that you are creating for the future. It's just a compensation for something that actually you are providing almost for free. And what was troubling in that situation was that actually, Dreyfus said that actually it was not, it was open to other deal with like, companies like Mistral or other type of companies like that. But in a way, it's troubling that actually the first choice was not Mistral. I mean, since it's a French company, you had a French licorne you know, pushed by the French government to actually become one of the leader on the market. I would have expected, some kind of premium deal between the two companies, and not with OpenAI and ChatGPT. But yeah, it is possible that the moment is just trying to buy time to create their own language model. I don't. The information I got is actually they are not exactly working on that for the moment, but and of course, Reporters Sans Frontières is actually doing their own stuff with their model Spinoza with the Alliance de la Presse, and well, I mean, it's a very good attempt, and I think it's a very interesting move, and obviously we need to have that kind of move. More people trying to actually develop their own LLM to actually become a little bit more independent. So that's one news about the state of AI. But so that's let's say a business type of yes, Sophie.
Yes, as you said, maybe a solution would be for media to build their own, language model. But do we have a sort of estimation how much it will cost for media? Because the trouble today is media are very fragile, and of course, still looking after a business model that is not there.
Yeah. Well, for the training part, it's not that it's not a big investment, but the problem is when you have to put it into production, then the cost can rise. But I mean, that's the thing is, at least trying to train a model first for a small use case where basically you understand that actually your readers need to have, I don't know, an interaction with your newsroom to provide a service, and so you start creating a model for that, and then from that point you start to test and learn some solutions, and that's the point. And the problem is apparently very few are doing this kind of stuff. So for the moment, le partenariat permet à la société éditrice de monde travailler. Yes. Well, yeah, the consolidation of the business model. I'm not really sure about that part. I mean, and plus the thing is that actually you have you have to renegotiate every, I don't know, I think that's a 5-year contract that they have. So basically they will be forced to actually renegotiate the contract in a certain amount of time, and we'll see if the deal is as interesting as it is today. On another side, I wanted to actually show you something. So I don't know, if there is no sound, it's going to be problematic. But anyways, I'm going to show you the picture. Maybe you're already aware about that video, but so basically what you are seeing is a video of the intro of Set A8 magazine that actually used AI pictures to illustrate some views of the Antwerp harbor. So that's also something that, that's also a use of AI today. It's not the first time that actually television used AI to illustrate, to make an illustration in the subject. But the problem here is probably more, were they forced to actually use this kind of picture? I mean, when you are showing a location like the Antwerp harbor, probably people will be able to actually say if that's the true or the false, or if that's a true shot of the harbor, or if that's something else entirely. Actually, I made some research. The the uniform of the cop on the right is not accurate, so that's also a problem. And to give you a sense of the strategy deployed by TF1, basically generative artificial intelligence was decided to be a priority topic within the group by Rodolphe Belmer, who is the CEO, and that was at the end of 2023. And basically he asked each business branch to think about it and try to actually move forward and try to develop a new use case. On the information side, the subject that actually is overseen by Thierry Trullier, who's the director of information, and all the team that he has under his supervision. And at the operational level, it is actually conducted by Olivier Ravanello, who is the director of digital information and strategy. And TF1 does not have a charter yet, but there is some discussion that are underway on this subject, and there is a different group that are actually working and discussing together to actually cover different areas like editorial, legal, documentation, technical, etc., etc. So there is a move already that is actually happening inside the TF1. It's exactly the same thing on France Télévisions, in France Télévisions, where you have an ethical chart that is actually developed by quite a lot of members of the channel. So as you can see, there is actually moving parts here that are actually developed. So there is many different other use cases that we can see that are actually problematic. I just want to actually show you one that could actually raise some question. Here you have so this is Adobe Firefly, who actually offers fake war images. So you might know, of course, Adobe for Photoshop and many other platforms that they are using, Premiere, or that they are developing. And so basically here the thing is that actually since they started to actually train their model Adobe Firefly and implement this model into their tool, basically we are able to actually generate on Adobe Stock with the platform where you can sell pictures and I don't recall if there is videos on that platform, but for sure there is pictures. And so basically you can actually generate AI images and sell them for any kind of client. So this woman with the two kids are actually fake. It's an AI image that is sold, that I retrieved like 2 hours ago. It's sold on the platform, and basically all the pictures that you see in the background are also sold in the platform. When you actually type Gaza-Israel war, it's the kind of result that you get. So needless to say that actually when you are selling this kind of picture, people will actually buy this picture and publish them without the proper credit, because that's always the kind of thing that you forget to mention. And that's a problem that we discovered multiple occurrences where basically people were publishing this type of picture without any kind of warning. For its defense, Adobe said that actually on the website they have a mention of AI generated image. So on their side, they seem covered by this message. But it's troubling anyway, because at some point, Adobe is also part of this very large initiative that is actually gathering quite a lot of actors in the industry to actually create some kind of labeling, official labeling through the C2PA network and the Content Authenticity Initiative network. And so basically they are trying to actually lead on one side the efforts to actually track the pictures and make sure that actually there is no content that could be actually mistaken for a true photography, a true photograph made by a photojournalist. And on the other part, they're actually selling fake images without any kind of labeling other than the one they have on their website. So it's a very strange use of AI to my opinion. I don't know if you are if you were aware about that situation. What question does that raise in your mind if you are at ease with that that type of content? If you want to react, no problem. I will continue. There is also many other strange behavior. Sport Illustrated, for example, the Arena Group, which licenses Sport Illustrated and owns the publication, The Street, was also recently caught doing something like Capital did that to using AI written reviews and trying to actually cover their action with fake journalist profiles attached to the article. So basically, they were saying, okay, that's a true journalist who actually wrote this review, when actually it was not. So you have many different occurrences like this too, where basically the use of AI is troubling at best. I mean, you are publishing content that without properly mentioning that it's an AI content, or using fake identity or fake journalists to actually create content. So that's the thing that I wanted to actually show you, because it's really part of the bad behavior that we can encounter on when it comes to generative AI. But you also have like positive applications that are very very interesting to actually take a look at. So basically, the first that I wanted to show is that implementation from Numerama, was actually in a publication focused on tech information. So basically, they are actually using ChatGPT for quite a while now. I think it's like 1 year, 1 year and a half. They are using ChatGPT to write their that newsletter artificial, and so they developed an entire workflow to integrate their content and to make their content selected by ChatGPT, and then they rewrite the whole thing. The interesting part of that newsletter is that actually you have some kind of I forgot the name of that. When you are showing the how the sausage is made, basically. So they're explaining the whole process in the newsletter. So first you have the news, and then after that you have a small paragraph that are actually describing how they did the newsletter, etc. And after that test, so the test was conducted for over a few months, and then they decided to actually use that knowledge to actually create functionality for subscribers, paying subscribers, and basically they are using AI to generate to summarize the article that they are actually writing, and they put that at the top of the article. So it's only available for paying subscribers, but they are saying that actually it increased engagement in the article. So that's one thing. In the same spirit, L'Equipe announced a couple of days ago that actually they were using since the beginning of April under each online article a summary of the comments posted by its users on the website, not on the app. And basically, the summaries are half a dozen lines long. They are generated automatically by OpenAI via ChatGPT. And so there is a little note that actually indicates that the content is generated by AI. So there is, it's almost the right way to do it. It's not central. It's not a functionality that is central to the editorial content, but it actually provides some kind of service when you don't want to read all the comments that could actually be numerous. At least you have like a sense of what is said below in the comment section, and you have also a UX design that actually shows you that actually it's a AI generated content. So that's a pretty good thing to get things in mind. They basically have 400,000 messages posted per month by their reader. So you can understand that actually when you are actually offering this kind of services, it could be very helpful for those who want to actually read these comments. Another company that is actually using AI in a very good way, I think, is Context. Context is more B2. I don't know. It's a B2B publication, B2C, but it's a professional publication that is actually covering European news and economic news, and so it's a very, very nice publication. They are very tech-oriented too, and basically they developed a couple of tools that are very interesting. The first one is Scan. That's the one that you are seeing. It's an interface for the subscriber to follow the development of French legislation in real time. So basically, you can see the modification of the legislation in real time. So they developed that tool during a hackathon that actually they held a couple of weeks ago. So it's not necessarily yet online. I don't recall exactly, but I think it's an interesting use case that they have. The other one is the other tool is called Isaac Plus, and basically it's a monitoring tool that they actually are using in-house, that they developed from scratch. And the idea is that actually it's an online form where journalists can enter the web address of their document and the information they wish to extract from it in the form of column to be filled in a table, and the tool provide this kind of stuff, and it accelerates a little bit the process of looking for new information in very large documents. So that's a good help for the journalist. It's an internal tool that is not actually impacting the editorial content, but just helping the journalist to actually make better research. There is a couple of prompts already that are existing out there that you can use on ChatGPT to do exactly the same thing. But here you have also the benefit of a very nice interface to actually, smooth things up and provide better use for the journalist. And the last one is actually the one I find interesting is this briefing newsletter. Basically, Context is highlighting, like many other publication, relevant information for each reader in their daily email. And the idea is to actually propose some sort of interface to highlight the most useful information for, like, say, a given subscriber. And the idea is to create, to also, categorize the information that a user or a reader would like to read. So basically, to do that, they need to actually create cluster of readers to identify the readers that are actually reading the information. So that's one thing. And on the so of course it's based on the data that they are collecting about their readers. And on the technical side, they implement a machine learning algorithm, and they try to like say so to identify these readers who have common interest. And you have on the generating part, you have ChatGPT that is actually enabling them to identify news items that are very similar and that could be published in different in several editions, that so that way they can avoid repetition in different newsletters. The idea is to when you are actually implementing this kind of this kind of solution, you have to ask yourself a couple of questions, I think, that are very important to raise. What are the opportunities from the standpoint of a newsroom? So basically, is AI a solution for everything? Probably not. So you have to think about use cases and identify the problem that you have that may be solved by AI or by using generative AI. It could be problems that actually journalists are facing when they are producing the content, when they are trying to gather information, when they are acting as a journalist. Or that could be also a problem, when you want to publish a story, when you want to generate a story. I mean, you can create services that could actually, very practical services, by using translation tools or video tools or synthetic voice tools. These kind of tools can be very useful to actually answer these very specific questions. You have also to ask yourself how you can integrate them in your newsroom without creating more mess than it is already the case. So basically, you have to be careful of the bias of quite a lot of problematic things that are actually embedded into the AI. You have to probably also that's also the occasion to actually maybe think about a new organization of the newsroom, because if you think about it, I mean, nowadays, I don't know how to call that in English, but there is that technique where basically you receive an article from a news press agency like AFP or Associated Press or Reuters, and you will write the article in the style and the tone of the newspaper. So basically, it's an echo of the information that is actually just a rewrited piece that you publish in your column. This is not really necessary, and maybe you might be able to use AI to treat that part and redirect the efforts of journalists that are actually were assigned to this kind of task to different and new tasks that you can come up with. So that's the idea of trying to challenge your own organization and decide whether or not these kind of tasks are still useful today. If you probably need to change some stuff in your organization and push the work of some journalists that were not considered before, that's an opportunity. And the idea is also to actually say, when you have an opportunity, it's not because you can that you have to do the thing. And so if you can do things differently by not using AI, maybe that's also a good opportunity to actually question the use of generative AI. I mean, when you see the TIFF1 intro with generative AI, they could have used stock imagery to actually create the intro. They could have go to the port to the harbor to actually take real pictures. They didn't have to actually use generative AI to provide exactly the same kind of context and the same kind of picture. They did a test. I mean, I think it's probably interesting for them, but you have to question how you work. The risks are multiple. So there is some risk on the database, how you manage bias in the bias from the models, bias that are actually recreated by the models when you are using them. We have countless occurrences of biases that are actually reported on the web. You have also a risk of feeling for people, for journalists who are not really at ease with this kind of tool, of being, of feeling a little bit downgraded, a bit, not in sync with that type of technology, and it could create some distress at work, because people come to the newsroom to actually make some journalism, and if they are not able to do that, they will probably suffer from that situation. So that's also something that is a risk, a very strong risk, and how you can communicate with that to the audience, because there are also a credibility issue. If you are actually creating content with AI, at some point people can also misunderstand what you are trying to do, what is the exact process where AI is actually used, and basically they can that whole thing can create even more defiance against the news industry, which is not obviously the case, the thing that we are aiming for. And there is some prospect also that you want to have in mind. Basically, how AI will change the web. I mean, there will be more and more content that will be produced by AI. NewsGuard, that is, it's with actually a US organization, actually detected almost 800 websites that were actually generated by AI, entirely generated by AI. And these websites were actually referenced by Google News. That's for media.co, who actually wrote a paper on that. So we already see quite a lot of content that is actually, pushed by that technology and referenced by the main search engine. And speaking of search engine, there will be an impact also on the way we are referenced and the way people are actually finding the content that we are producing, with the very soon arrival of SGE, the search generative engine, which will probably this type of new model search engine will probably arrive in a couple of months or years. So Perplexity is one example of this kind of SGE, and you can already see that there is many limitations. So basically, what does in the end is that actually it reduces the discoverability of news articles and news content, and that's also a very big problem. So as you can see, there is many different things that are very challenging in the future too. Just to give you a couple of an idea of what we are actually, what we can do with AI. And you have, of course, the idea of creative assistance, right? So basically you can analyze data, you can make some transcriptions, you can create content, text, audio, video, whatever you want. You can make translation, you can create articles with different style and tone and try to actually use this AI to actually match the tone of your publication. You can also either develop entire piece of code, or just, if you want to do that but you don't know how to do it, you can use this assistant, this chatbot, to actually learn how to do it. Fact checking can be also used with tools like Pinpoint or other tools that are actually able to extract data from large amount of documents. It helps you think also, because it helps you to actually challenge yourself when you are actually a little bit tired and blank and you want to start a new day and you are like exhausted because you just worked too late. Well, it can help you to actually initiate your thinking and try new things and propose you. The tool can propose you different angles, different ideas for video script, or challenge the way you work. You write your titles, or provide SEO titles that are optimized for SEO. So you can, and even, I think, in my opinion, the most interesting thing is when you have a very complicated story to actually, that is actually assigned to you, like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you have to send the paper at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It helps you also to gain quite a lot of knowledge very quickly about that topic if you are not aware of that. Yes, Nicola. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
Don't worry. So I just wanted to share some thoughts with you. If anyone wants to add anything, and we would like to hear your comments as well. Just like many colleagues around the world, I'm sure we share the same opinion. We are still a bit afraid of AI, especially when it comes to content creation, meaning the traditional way of making journalism work. But at the same time, we are trying to find solutions on how we can better be productive in creating videos, in such kind of things, or managing our social media accounts. There are some positions, new positions in media groups right now that we cannot afford to hire people to do that. So any kind of tools that could be an addition to these procedures could be valuable for us. But at the same time, I'm pretty much sure that I can't trust AI to create articles. I cannot trust it to give me any type of angles. I don't know if this sounds too conservative.
No, I mean,
your ears, but I'm a young journalist, but still I feel not so. I cannot trust yet AI to do the traditional part of our work.
But the thing is, actually, I don't think it's a tool that we have to use to replace this kind of work. I mean, the idea is not to replace journalists; it's to actually. It's not even to actually to increase productivity, in a capitalistic sense of the thing, to produce more and more and more, because at some point, who is going to read the content? I mean, if you produce more content, it's hurtful for the publication, for the ecosystem, because you have infobesity in the end, and people tend to actually go away from this kind of stuff. No, I think it's there is areas where basically you can improve improve the productivity without degrading the editorial experience. Like when you are producing a video, you have transcription, automatic transcription, automatic subtitling. It's very efficient now. You have very minimum type of input that you have to actually do to have a very good result. That for sure that helps to actually gain in productivity and create more content that are better for the audience. The same thing, I mean, you know, recropping the video and trying to do the same thing for social media. You have tools now that are available and can do that. So you are, you know, you don't spend 2 hours to do this kind of stuff, who are actually mundane task and you know, doesn't serve any kind of purposes. So it's very efficient for that. For that, I think also for, you know, voice generation, this kind of stuff can be also very useful in very specific use case. You know, as long as it is identified and well used, in a sense of when it's not replacing someone but helping. You know, instead of calling back the journalist, well, you know, the sentence was not well recorded, and you need to go back, and so the journalist has to actually stop what he was doing to go back to the studio and record again, and you know, it happens every day. So now you can use small bits of the voice of that journalist to just, you know, patch into the program some part of it, just so that way he doesn't lose the time, and you can still produce the content. So it's the kind of thing, and it's already in use in different media, on YouTube, on podcasts, different on various places. So it could be very interesting for that too. Yes, Sophie. Sorry, it's over.
Yes, it's just because Daniel asked a question that could, you know, maybe contribute to the debate. Daniel, I'm taking your question to everyone. What can this bring to the readers? Do we have enough in mind our audience when talking about AI? That's a question. What do you think, Gerald?
Well, I that's a very good question. You know, I'm just trying to. So basically, I published that guide that you can download at some point with the slides, and the idea was to actually think about the audience first, because that's, you know, there is 3 areas. There is the audience, the newsroom, and the support. The support worker, those who are actually, you know, the product managers, these kind of guys who are actually, you know, providing also the structure to actually publish the content. And the problem here with the audience is that you have to create new products that are actually thinking of them. So AI can actually improve. For example, one thing that I have in mind is that actually AI can actually provide a new experience, like I don't know if you remember Circa. Circa was an app that was created like 10 years ago, something like that. And the concept of that app was to use atomic articles. And atomic articles were the concept was that actually you had some kind of personalized article that actually could provide you different information in regard of your own experience of the topic that you are reading. So basically, if I'm reading, I'm a young student, I'm 20, and I don't know nothing about the Israel-Hamas conflict, I will have quite a lot of information, contextual information, that will be provided by the application through generative AI that is actually trained on the archive of my newspaper. And as the time goes, I will read more and more paper like that, and AI will be able to actually track my progress, my my consumption of news articles, and we'll be able also to decide in a way that actually now that's okay, you know enough about the conflicts, so I don't have to provide you contextual elements, and now I can focus on the real news that is happening right now. So you can have some kind of progressive learning curve of the situation without, you know, having to read all the articles and trying, you know. So it can help the audience to have a better understanding, to, you know, and to enter into the story in a smooth way, when actually today it's very complicated when you have to face this kind of knowledge. I don't know if I'm clear, but tell me if that's not the case. Flora, hello.
Yes, I want to know, because you spoke about tools that can be used, and do you have some concrete examples of tools we can find? Because for my part, I just use ChatGPT to summarize. Sometimes I'm just playing with it because it's not.
Well, I mean, there is many different tools, but the thing is, on my side, I tend to actually focus on the main ones, because the ones that are financially stable or backed by big companies like Microsoft or this kind of stuff, because they will be there to stay. I mean, they are not subject to, they won't disappear from overnight just because they don't have any more finance. So basically, it's ChatGPT, Claude, Mistral, probably this kind of tool for text generation. I think that's you can focus your expertise on that and try to actually try different model and try different things. The problem here is that actually, for now, we are using ChatGPT and this kind of tools with the general, the interface that is provided. But hopefully, at some point, Newsroom will actually use the API to actually integrate some services directly into the CMS. So I think that's a product type of thinking that we have to develop here and say, okay, that's very interesting. I'm testing stuff with ChatGPT. I need to get that kind of result. I'm not quite there with ChatGPT. Can I go to see my the product manager that is in charge of developing tools for the website or for the application and discuss with this guy or this woman just to actually understand the process and try to develop new functionalities. And it goes for text generation as well as for audio generation or video generation or image generation. I don't know if that's my photojournalist background, but for image generation, I'm not a big fan of a use in the media industry. At least not in that, not to cover news. Probably, there is photographers like Michael Brown who actually created different reports about using AI, and they are very interesting. And I think it's a field that photojournalists have to test and try to use, but more for documentary photography than for news photography. For video, it's another thing. I mean, I think for video, and we discussed that already with Nice Matin, but I think there is many use cases that could be implemented when it comes to video, avatarization for presentation or on social media or on live. It could be also very, very interesting. But you need to have a clear goal in mind before starting to implement this kind of stuff. You need to test and then detect the editorial opportunity, and then you test something that is very easy to test, and then after that you can think about the industrial implementation.